The helicopter lifted off without warning. Snow blasted into the air, stinging her face as the ground beneath her feet vanished into white chaos. 8-year-old Elara stumbled forward, screaming over the roar of the blades. "Dad! Dad, wait!" Her boots sank into the snow. She fell hard, palms burning, lungs seizing from the cold. The helicopter rose higher, shrinking against the gray sky. Inside, her father never turned around. The sound faded. Silence rushed in, thick, terrifying, absolute. Elara pushed herself up, chest heaving. "Dad," she called again, her voice cracking. "This isn't funny." Only the wind answered. Something warm pressed against her leg. She looked down. The dog, Atlas, stood beside her, his fur dusted with snow, amber eyes locked on the sky where the helicopter had disappeared. He let out a low, uneasy whine. "They'll come back," Elara whispered, though fear clawed up her throat. "They have to." Atlas looked at her, then at the empty horizon. His ears flattened. Night was already creeping in. Just hours earlier, her father had smiled as he helped her into the helicopter. Billionaire Victor Hale, philanthropist, tech magnate, the man magazines called a visionary. He had ruffled her hair and said, "A quick hike, just us. Something to remember." Now all she remembered was cold. Elara's teeth chattered as she checked the backpack her father had handed her before setting her down. She unzipped it with trembling fingers. Empty. "No, no, no," she whispered, panic flooding her chest. She shook the bag, as if food or supplies might magically appear. Nothing. Atlas growled softly, sensing her distress. "He wouldn't," she said aloud, her voice shaking. "He wouldn't leave me." But deep down, something ugly and sharp twisted inside her. A memory surfaced, her father arguing on the phone the night before. "She complicates things," Victor had said. "Legally and financially." At the time, Elara hadn't understood. Now, standing alone on a frozen mountain, she did. The sun dipped lower. The temperature dropped fast. "Elara," she told herself, squeezing her eyes shut. "Think. You have to think." Atlas nudged her hand, then turned and began walking downhill, pausing to look back at her. When she didn't move, he barked once, sharp, urgent. "You want me to follow you?" she asked. The dog barked again and kept moving. With no other choice, Elara followed. Snow soaked through her clothes. Her legs burned. She slipped twice, scraping her knees, biting back sobs. Atlas stayed close, positioning himself downhill from her, steadying her when she faltered. As darkness fell, the wind howled louder. Elara's hands went numb. Her breathing slowed, dangerous and shallow. "I'm tired," she murmured, sinking to her knees. "I can't." Atlas immediately pushed against her chest, forcing her upright. He barked sharply, teeth bared, not in anger, but in command. "Okay," she whispered, tears freezing on her cheeks. "Okay. I'm getting up." They reached a rocky outcrop just as the storm intensified. Atlas squeezed into a narrow gap between stones, digging with his paws. Beneath the rocks was a shallow hollow, shielded from the wind. Atlas climbed inside, then turned and nudged Elara insistently. She crawled in after him, curling into a ball as Atlas pressed his body against hers, radiating warmth. His heart thumped steadily, grounding her. "Don't leave me," she whispered, clutching his fur. Atlas licked her frozen fingers. That night, Elara drifted in and out of consciousness, certain she was dying. Every time her breathing slowed too much, Atlas nudged her awake, whining softly until her eyes opened again. When morning came, she was still alive. Days blurred together. Elara learned quickly that panic wasted energy. Hunger sharpened her thoughts. Atlas hunted small animals and brought them back, dropping them at her feet with solemn focus. "I don't know how to," she began the first time. Atlas stared at her until she figured it out. She learned to melt snow for water using flat stones warmed in the weak sunlight. She learned to follow Atlas's instincts, when to move, when to hide, when to rest. On the 5th day, she fell hard, twisting her ankle. Pain shot up her leg, and she screamed. Atlas circled her anxiously, then disappeared into the trees. "Atlas," she cried, terror surging. Minutes passed. Then he returned, tugging at her sleeve with his teeth, pulling insistently. "I can't walk," she sobbed. Atlas lowered his body, positioning himself so she could lean on him. Together, painfully slow, they moved. By sunset, Atlas led her to an old ranger cabin, half buried in snow. The door hung crookedly, but it opened. Elara laughed and cried at the same time. Inside, there was nothing but dust and broken furniture, but it was shelter. "We're safe," she whispered, hugging Atlas. "We're really safe." Weeks later, hunters found her. "Holy hell," one of them muttered, staring at the thin, filthy child clutching a massive dog. "Where did you come from, kid?" She tried to speak, but her voice came out hoarse and broken. "My dad left me." The men exchanged glances. They never called the authorities. Instead, Elara was moved from place to place, her story whispered but never reported. Her name disappeared. Her father held a press conference, eyes red, voice heavy as he spoke of loss. "My daughter is gone," Victor Hale said solemnly. "We did everything we could." The world mourned with him. Elara watched that broadcast years later from a cracked television in a small apartment, Atlas's gray muzzle resting on her knee. "He lied," she said quietly. Atlas huffed, as if agreeing. She grew up invisible. No records. No inheritance. No safety net. Only survival. But she learned. She listened. She planned. By the time she was 26, Elara Hale no longer existed on paper. But she existed everywhere else. She walked into Hale Industries under a new name, resumed spotless, skills undeniable. Within months, executives praised her sharp mind. Victor Hale never recognized her. Until the day the boardroom doors opened and Atlas padded in beside her. Victor's face drained of color. "Elara," he whispered, voice breaking. She met his eyes, calm and unflinching. "You left me to die," she said evenly. "I didn't." Security arrived. So did federal agents. As Victor was led away in handcuffs, he collapsed, sobbing. Elara didn't look back. If this story moved you, if you believe loyalty matters more than money, subscribe, like, and share. Some stories deserve to be remembered.